What is up, folks? Welcome, and happy Monday. What is good? Hope everybody's having a delightful Monday so far. You know, as far as Mondays go. Atomic Runner, what is up? Time to exterminate. Indeed. Finally, hopefully, we should be able to wrap up Extermination. We made some good progress on Saturday, but we were well. I mean, we made progress, yes, but it was not exactly smooth. I made a lot of mistakes over the course of those couple of hours, and I ended up having to redo a lot of stuff, and I was being a bit silly, which led to not the smoothest or most rapid progress, but we got there. We made it pretty far, and we made it, I would say, as far as I can judge, very close to the end. But after a bit of a mishap, a missed jump leading to an instant death, fairly long after having saved, meaning we would have to redo quite a bit to get back up to that point. At the end of that stream, I just figured, you know what, I don't want to go through all that and then get stuck on a boss fight and whatever. Like, I could have maybe pushed myself to finish the game last time, but I figured, let's not do that. Let's end the stream and eat dinner instead, and I'll finish the game on Monday. So that's what we're doing. But that means we're definitely not gonna just boot the game up and instantly beat it, because at the very least we're gonna have to catch up to the part that we did last time and just we're not able to save because we fell into a pit. But yeah, I'm looking forward to see how things wrap up. It's been a pretty cool game. Like, obviously we're playing it in Japanese, so a lot of the story is kind of going over my head. I'm not paying super close attention to it. I'm greatly enjoying the atmosphere, the ambiance, the mood. It's a cool game for sure. And there's certainly been bits and pieces of the story that we've been able to glean, if nothing else. There was the surprise twist that our ulterior motive, secret plan commanding officer turned out to secretly be a good guy, which I thought was a fun twist. I like that. We had the dramatic showdown with the super gutsified, what's his name? Roger, which was an exciting experience where we have to do the boss fight 3 times or so because I kept dying, and we had to redo a bunch of stuff before the fight, which kind of sucked. But as it turns out, the key to defeating Roger was to not get up close so he could knife you, which did like 60% damage in one hit. You have to keep your distance, so he only attacks with his rocket launchers instead of his knife, because getting hit by the rocket launcher does like 10% damage. That was an interesting discovery. That was still pretty neat. We got his dog tag, and I guess we retrieved his knife, which Dennis and Roger had bonded over in the past. But it was a pretty cool fight. Pretty cool monster design. Like, as far as these kind of mutated monster creatures go, like, it's not something, like, as far as character design, creature design, it's not something I would feel ever compelled to design or draw myself. But when it's done well, I always kind of appreciate it. Like, it's interesting because it's so close to being something I am completely uninterested in. I've mentioned before how so many games, like, it was something that came up frequently when we did the Lords of Shadow playthroughs, that those games, whether 2D or 3D, but it really could have been any game, you see so many, especially Western developed, like, 3D action games, character action games, whatever, where you have these, like, humanoid, like, naked and featureless creatures that they might be zombies, they might be, infected alien creatures, they might be something else, but they always kind of have the same, humanoid shape, kind of muscles, usually a gray, maybe brownish flesh tones. And there's just, like, I don't know, whether it's Castlevania or God of War, or I don't fucking know, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Extraction, anything. I don't know. I feel like so many games have those same kind of completely nondescript monsters, and I really could not give a even part of a shit of any of that. But when you have these kind of creatures that are just a little bit more fantastical and imaginative, I'm thinking back to like Genji and Onimusha that we played before too. Like obviously Genji had these super elaborate boss fights which were amazing, but even the regular enemies were, I would say, at least marginally more interesting looking than those types of generic zombies or whatever you want to call them. And in I mean, in Extermination, I guess the regular enemies aren't the most exciting, but they're still fairly appealing looking, I think. And especially the kind of bigger boss type creatures, Roger in particular. Yeah, definitely cool. Definitely cool. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm expecting there to be an even bigger final boss of some kind, which I'm willing to bet is going to be pretty cool. The ulterior motive twist was that there was no twist. Yes, the no twist twist. It's a bold move, but I think it worked out well in this particular game. We will jump into Extermination very soon. We'll let people drop in here as we usually do, but we have one more order of business, and that is, of course, the daily Gundam update. So we've got the old Justice Knight right here. Oh yeah, I should probably. Oh boy. It's too bad these guys are all white because it makes it doesn't play well with my camera here. I have to fuck with the exposure settings and shit. It's worth it though. I guess we'll. No, what the heck? Why do I? Okay, I'm like moving the exposure one way and the setting goes like the opposite way. But there we go. So this was the kit that I got on Atomic Runner's recommendation, if I can call it that. I don't know. It focused correctly for like a second, but can we like, yeah, there we go. It's been a pretty fun build so far. So I've mostly finished the body, but I'm still missing the Nightwing that goes on the back, which is his like cape / wings. Articulation is like a little stiff on this guy, but takes a little getting used to. But as with all these kits, like it is definitely very well articulated, very posable and flexible, and you can do all kinds of stuff, and you are certainly encouraged to buy light stands so you can do even more. Well, I guess you can still pose them, however, but you can actually display them in elaborate poses. But yeah, these guys are like incredibly, like even compared to any action figure, they're pretty I mean, it's all designed for the articulation to kind of be part of the aesthetic and the design anyway, so you end up with these highly articulated, very posable well, figures. They're model kits, but they're basically action figures. And this one has been really fun. This is the third one I'm building. I finished the Barbatos and the Crossbone Gundam, and I think as far as the build itself goes, this has been my favorite so far, because as you can kind of tell, once I can show this here in a second, there's a bunch of different colors, which, because all of this is molded, none of this is painted, right? So it's all the whatever color the plastic's molded in. This one has for sure like a higher number of parts to assemble. Like the chest is a good example, because it's all like these layers, and it means there's more parts to assemble. I was speculating when we were talking about this last time that the real grade kits, I'm a little worried about them being just a little bit too finicky with like higher level of detail, meaning more tiny parts. And I don't know that the parts are smaller in this set than the other high grade kits I've built, but the fact that there are more parts is kind of making it more fun, I guess. So maybe the master grade kits too, I guess, but yeah, maybe the real grade kits will be more fun. I really like the way the head sculpt looks, or the design. Let's see if we can get some focus here. Nicely proportioned. Another thing I like about the design of this, because it is like more parts than some of the other kits I've built, it has less, there are fewer parts where, like anytime there's an intersection or kind of a layered piece, most of the time, especially because there are multiple colors, by design, they're sort of forced to make it so that it is physically built out of multiple parts that you assemble, as opposed to having one piece that is sort of shaped to look like multiple parts. So there's fewer kind of lines that go across one sculpted part, like the legs here, for example. There's like the front piece and the back piece, and of course everything else that's colored differently. It's a little bit hard to explain, but actually the lower arms might be a better example. Where, see if we can maybe get some focus here. Every place that there ought to be a kind of line or a gap, it's actually physically separate parts. Which gives a bit of depth and detail to the sculpt that's not perhaps there otherwise. So yeah, I mean, it might look complete-ish, but there's still a bunch more to build because, again, I have to put the cape/wings on him. And he has a shield, a sword, a lance, and maybe something else in terms of weapons. And I think there's also a... I think his shield can like convert or transform into some kind of a flying pod thing. So I'm not sure if that's like an option thing or it's a separate part you build. I haven't gotten that far, but there's some building left to be done. Aesthetically, this is not my favorite design. I'm not super keen on the colors, like the purple, gray, beige. The gold is also a bit drab. I was considering painting the gold, but I didn't... I could still do it, but it would be requiring a little more of a process than I was eager to invest right now. But, oh yeah, another thing I really like about this kit, as opposed to the other ones I've built, there are far fewer stickers. The black on the front of the leg vents, the eyes, and the green parts on the helmet, on the front and back, those are the only stickers on this entire thing. The other two kits I've built had a bunch more stickers, and a lot of them were really awkward, like folding over. Like, they had more parts that were like halfway, like a part that was molded in white but was supposed to have a black part on it, so you use a sticker for the black part, but there's much less of that, and the stickers are a bit finicky, so that's a nice little thing in this kit's favor. So yeah, I look forward to finishing this, which probably gonna do sometime later this week. I might save it for the weekend, but at this rate, I'm actually kind of excited to finally get to the real grade Astray, to see what building that's going to be like. So putting together a kit like this, I think, I mean, I started yesterday, so I did a little bit in the morning and a little bit at night, so I would say I'd put probably 3 to 4 hours into this. I mean, you can go faster, you can go slower. For me, it's kind of a meditative thing. I don't mind it taking time. In fact, it's you find a balance. You could always, like with painting, for example, it's something you can do to put more time into it. And for me, not having done that, it's not so much an issue of time. It's more about the paints I have. I haven't tried using them for something like this, so I'd have to sort of try priming it. It's going to be a bit of trial and error to figure out the process for it to work well, and that's the part that I have a little less patience for, or had at the time anyway. This thing is about 6 years newer than the others. Yeah, that makes sense. There would be some differences between, like with age, of course, these things evolve. Trying stuff on plastic spoons. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of, at this point, I haven't thrown out any of the sprue parts or whatever yet either, so that's what I did when I was testing out the markers, because you want to make sure, like, it's a matter of what's the word, like chemical reactions, basically, like how do the different types of, because the paints that I have that aren't the Gundam markers, it's all like Citadel paints, like water-based paints, which aren't gonna stick super well to plastic unless you prime it. And I do have a spray can of, it's actually kind of varnish, but it's also, it kind of doubles as a primer, so it's basically like a clear coat primer. So the idea is I should be able to use that on action figures and stuff like that that don't necessarily take paint super well. But I haven't tried it, so I just have to try it. And that's the thing, like if everything works fine, you can do it, but if it doesn't work and you have to iterate on that process to figure out how you do it, I have much less patience for that. But yeah, I've been greatly enjoying this hobby so far, and it's going to be the end of me, but at least I can enjoy it. So yeah, there you go. That's your daily Gundam update, and yeah, this is I was gonna say the first of many. This is not the first Gundam update, but it's certainly not the last, I guess is what I wanted to say. At some upcoming stream soon, maybe after the weekend, depending on when I take the time to do this, but in the not too distant future, you should be able to see an update on what this guy looks like with his swords and shields and all that stuff. Unearth your old master grade ball. Yeah, by all means. Like, I've actually been I've been considering, I haven't felt the need because the Discord isn't that, like, there's not a big risk of conversations getting lost, but I was considering maybe a channel for like hobby Gundam stuff, because it is people are interested in that. If people want to chat about it, it might be good to have a channel for it, but we'll figure that out. Anyway. Enough Gundams. Now it's time for Special Forces, Alien, Virus, Monster, Action, Adventure, South Pole, Mysteries, aka Extermination. Let's see, let's boot up the old PS2 and hop on over here. And I should probably have to do this. And, oh yeah, let me give me a sec here. Just let the disk load here. So we will get the opportunity also to rewatch a big story cutscene that we saw last time, because I'm pretty sure the section that we have to replay involves, or includes, I should say, that big cutscene. All right, warning: this game involves grotesque scenes of gore and violence. Hope you guys aren't too squeamish. PlayStation 2 era gore. Actually, come think of it, there hasn't been, as far as gore goes, like, it hasn't been that graphic. Like, it's been a lot of mutated people turning into monsters. But as far as characters being, like, gruesomely killed and eviscerated, there hasn't been that much of that I can remember. Because the game actually shows you the opening before the main menu, we might as well rewatch this here. There's this Team Red Light, that's, what was his name? Mike Mardigan, the Major in command. That's us, Dennis Riley. We actually recognize some of these guys now that we've seen them in the game. Alright, mission Cold Limit to investigate what's going on here at Fort Stewart, the secret research base. There's Roger. I know what you're thinking about, Dennis. Dennis is feeling responsible for his ex-partner Andrew's death. And I guess he's on this mission partially to find and reconcile with Cindy, who is Andrew's girlfriend, who, as it turns out, is also a researcher at this this secret facility. So this guy Roger He's like the first victim, I guess, of alien gutsification, and it's basically the first encounter in the game that isn't like the first enemies you run into, if you can call them that, are the little bugs, the worms. And as you go through the game, like the enemies kind of grow in size and power and ability. So he's like the first enemy you fight that isn't just a little crawling bug. And as I remembered it, he dies right there because Cindy shows up and shoots him with like a rocket launcher or something. I forget exactly what happens. But I guess he didn't die because you face him several hours later when he's mutated into a huge monster. But well, I was going to say, but I'm pretty sure he died the second time we killed him. I guess you really can't know for sure. But yeah, so they're flying in and they crash and everyone gets sort of spread out and you have to find each other. And of course, throughout the game, everything's going to shit. So most of this squad end up disappearing or dying or being injured under circumstances of a variety of varying levels of mystery. And kind of towards the very end, before the Roger boss fight, we're planting these explosives to self-destruct this whole base. Because we want to destroy all traces of this virus or this bacteria that has caused this outbreak. And we learned that Herrera, I think it was, one of the other soldiers, we find him like laying on the ground, bleeding out. And before he dies, he explains that it was Mardigan who shot him. Like their commanding officer killed him. So that's a bit of a mystery, right? Like our bosses must have a hidden secret agenda. But then it turns out we learn when Mardigan sacrifices himself valiantly to plant the explosives like inside the core of this facility, science building, whatever. That he was indeed on a secret mission from the government to basically the distress call that the base had sent out. They had kind of requested that like, please airstrike this facility, wipe it from the map. Shit has gone bad. You need to just nuke it. But instead of doing that, I guess we wanted to like go into the facility to find people or whatever. And it turns out that the entire plan was predictably to secure a sample of this virus because it's this super valuable weapon, potentially, right? You don't want to get rid of that if it has a practical use, someone argued. So that was Mardigan's actual mission. And he explains that Ferrer and I guess one or two of the other guys were like secretly CIA agents or something. But Mardigan realized that this shit is actually a really bad idea. So he kind of betrayed and backstabbed his other secret collaborators to... he did a double, triple turn, I guess. So he decided in the end that he couldn't go through with his secret real mission, but instead decided to help out with the I guess the kind of cover mission, which was to actually just save the people there and destroy the facility. So we took our farewells and everything. We've, I think, basically placed the explosives and whatever else. And there's like one last thing we need to do. And we need to go inside to find this laboratory or whatever it is. And once we reach that, we're going to see a little more, we're going to learn some more revelations, I guess. So we did that last time, but then we died afterwards. So we're going to have to replay a bit up to that cutscene. So I'll try to, best I can, translate/summarize what is going on there. Literally the first thing I did when the gameplay started was tilt the right stick to turn the camera, but then I instantly remembered, oh yeah, right, that's not a thing in this game. Oh yeah, in our wild backtracking towards the end there, we actually found the flamethrower, which I'd been collecting ammo for throughout the entire game. And I was wondering if I'd missed it or what was going on. And it turns out that yes, we had actually missed the flamethrower. So now we have a whole game's worth of flamethrower ammo. And I don't know if that's going to come in handy. When we fought Roger, we used about 15 or so grenades with the grenade launcher to take him out. And we have 29 of those. So as far as firepower goes, I think we'll be okay. I'll definitely hold on to the grenades. The flamethrower has limited range, so depending on what a potential final boss fight is going to look like, who knows if we're even you know, if we're going to be able to use it. So we can use that. And we are going to pass by that other room that has like 24, I think, shotgun shells. So we'll get that too. We do have 5 rockets for the ultimate launcher, but we only ever found one of the 3 required parts. We only have the A part for the ultimate launcher, so you need all 3. So presumably we just missed where the other parts were. We don't get it throughout the game, but that's fine. I think we have enough firepower. 90% health, 100% infection resistance, I guess. Is that what we should call it? It's not 100% infection. 100% resistance, let's call it. Alright, let's recharge the battery here. And before we run out anywhere, I need to figure out where it is we're going. I think I know where we're supposed to go. Yeah, right. So you can see the B part that's in blue. We need to go inside there. So on the map, you can kind of see that this kind of vertical exit into the B part. Well, it's not into B. B is where we are, but to the south. It kind of looks, if you look at the map, it looks like we'll just exit the door to our immediate right, and we'll walk on over there, and we'll go south into that door. It's not that easy, because there's actually a footpath that's higher up, that's not accessible from this floor. But the map does not make that clear at all. It's not even unclear, it's just not specified at all. This game's map leaves a bit to be desired, to say the least. So one of the features of the map, if you could call it that, is that it does not distinguish between floors. There are, in fact, 2 floors here, and there's not a lot of stuff where you have multiple kind of parts overlapping each other. It's just basically 2 walkways, and that's it. But because it doesn't distinguish, it looks like everything is on the same floor. So looking at the map and trying to figure out how to get from one part to the other is super unclear. But we do, in fact, have to go all the way back up here, take that door on the top right, go into this room, and climb up some boxes to get to the second floor, go back through the door on the bottom left of this part, which takes us into this door, and then we can follow this path, and right here where you see that little thin tunnel off the top, that's exactly where you have to do a jump over a gap, which usually is no big deal, but you do that jump, you go through some other hallways, you go through this walkway, and get into this section, and that leads us into that lab once you get through some other rooms. You go through this room, and as you can see, the yellow dot is where we want to go. So on our way back from there is when I fell into the pit right here. So we're doing this big old thing, and hopefully not die in the process, but there's no save stations in between all that, so there's going to be a bit of gameplay to do here. But yes, I go into the train tunnel, and then right, okay, I remember. I guess technically I can actually... can I? Oh yeah, this, okay. We can go through here to save ourselves one door transition. It's kind of funny. You open the door from this side to get rid of the lock, but it like doesn't necessarily save much time. All right, so we go back here, and there's, yep. Oh yeah, this game is like super fucking dark, by the way. Also, you're kind of better off not fighting everything. So you see the walkway up there? We need to go up there, but we can't access the walkway. Isn't there? Yeah, there's a dog tag. Whoops. So all members of your squad has a dog tag throughout the game, and I think we've collected all but one. So it kind of looks like you can climb up here, but you can't. So we go through here. And make our way up. It's kind of weird. I would say for sure one of the things that you might critique this game for. I think from a gameplay like system level, it's fine the way the saves work with the save stations and limited saves and the battery mechanic and everything. But the actual like distribution of save stations in the game is weird, because there's definitely some sections where there's... Oh, I'm at the corner already. You have to go really far in between save stations. Right, so this hallway is meant to be black, by the way. You're supposed to use the flashlight to light it up. But using the flashlight is a little awkward because you have to stop and aim your gun to turn it on. And you have to have the right accessory equipped. So since I know the layout of the hallway, it's faster to just run through it. So this was actually a door. We got the key, the alpha key to this lock way earlier. I just didn't really have much reason to backtrack to go through here. But since we're passing through right now, we have a bunch of shotgun shells, and I think, what was that, a double jelly, I think? Because you get power jelly, which refills your HP, and the double jelly will refill HP as well as recover infection. I didn't pay attention. That might have been a double jelly type B, and if it was, that's basically the best healing item because it gives you... It's a 100% recovery on both health and infection. Nice, we got the cutscene iframe, cinematic iframes. Alright, here's the jump. So, this thing right here, you have to shoot this little bulb, and that thing falls away. So this is the same room on the map, the big room here. Ooh, I'm about to sneeze. Ooh. It looks like it's all the same room, but like not really. Wait, did I just crouch in first person? I think that was the thing. Anyway. So jumping over there, not a problem. But when I came from the other way, that little alien thing sitting there was blocking my jump. So I fell into the pit. So I have to definitely make sure to not do that this time. Right, this room right here. We need to get to that green door. Alright, that's pretty sick. We actually... I dropped into the water when it was being electrified. But because I fell down... there was like an animation of him stumbling, during which I guess I had iframes, so I didn't actually take damage. That was pretty sick. Alright, this door is open now. So we can get into this top secret final area. I guess it'll be a little faster because there's a little puzzle here. Yeah. That I didn't... I was going to say I didn't understand it. I still don't understand it. But at least I know the solution. So I think it explains what you're supposed to do here, but I kind of skipped past this. And then I tried to find this document afterwards, and I couldn't figure out where it was. Robbie Rocketfingers, welcome, welcome. Canuck named Tex, welcome to you. That's a powerful, powerful emote. Tempo, probably the undisputed sickest 32X game, certainly as far as visuals go. The game seems pretty awesome. So this is some kind of a cold thing, right? What does it say on it? Cooling device. So there's some kind of a liquid or a gas or something, which if I'm walking here, I can't push through. But if I have like a running head start, I can run into it. But then I get pushed back. So what's going on there? Well, what I'm supposed to do, activating this doesn't help. But you see there's this cable or whatever going through. I cut that off before I get pushed out. And now I can activate the device. And it'll freeze that thing. Because otherwise you can see the little steam thing come out. Well, it's not steam exactly. I guess it's vapors. But yeah, you have to run into the water and it's, I don't know, it's so strange. But now we can crush that and we can go through. Highly mysterious. I don't exactly understand it, but it's kind of cool. All right. Lock that up. Got my knife buttons mixed up. Yeah, these things are a lot harder to shake off now. So this is the big old room. Well, okay, the map is in here, as I recall. I forget what's through those, the big slimy alien walls you can just cut with the knife. I think, yeah, I was just about to say, I think a cutscene is going to trigger here. And he determines that he needs to get to that panel. Seems like there's something in that booth. Okay, Dennis, if you say so. Yeah, it's talking about the HO213 bacteria. And it's like, I don't know, shape-shifting properties, and it can turn into liquid. Which we have seen. 50. Wow, that I took a bunch of damage. Yeah, I used a lot of these before. Well, let's hold off a little bit. I think we should be okay. So there's a tiny room at the end of the other side of the hallway. I should definitely check that out. What if there's like a save room there and I just missed it last time? I wonder if that's a thing. In fact, we should check that now before we go down, because it's a whole thing. Go down this way too, huh? Let's just in case there's something important there. I'm pretty sure I would have checked it last time, but I don't remember, so better safe than sorry. So yeah, those puddles that I run through, that effect right there, that's not just like water splashing. That is like, those puddles are monsters. And if you stand still in them for too long, bad shit happens. Ah, so this is locked. So I'm supposed to go here? Oh, right. That's right. You need like 24. Yeah, you need 24 gauges of battery. That's right. And our battery only carries 18 gauges, so we're not going to be able to achieve anything there until we have a bigger battery. But going to check that was still worth it, because I wouldn't want to have had that uncertainty lingering there. So, let's go to that little booth. The escalators that you can pull a switch to change direction on for some reason. Let's not ride them both backwards like we did last time. More flamethrower fuel and a bag of Lay's potato chips, aka full heal. It's not an actual bag of potato chips, it just looks like one. There's some stuff up here, I believe. Can't like jump, no. Okay, vaccine. Okay, if we make it back to a healing room, which it's probably... well, we definitely can. Okay, can I not... jump back up to that ledge? Okay, it's kind of weird, I guess not. At least do that. Okay, well, I'm fine. Yeah, I didn't even take damage from that. Before I operate that, let me just... about the origin. Yeah, so this is, I guess, yeah, okay, basically, I guess, I'm super skimming this and not really reading here, but I guess in yeah, in 1895, I guess, this first sample of some mysterious object was discovered. And there's been other discoveries of weird stuff. And they're talking about Roswell in 1947. And at the end here, I guess, this is from Professor Jan Falken. And he says, it's alive, basically. After 60,000 years, this thing is still alive. The long and short of it is that this floating rock, which this bacteria has been derived from, is in fact of some kind of alien origin. Kamar Magic, what is up? What is my favorite game of all time? That's a very difficult question. I don't think I could ever name one specific game as my favorite of all time. But some games that often come up as favorites. Oh yeah, this okay. I need to do some fancy tech here to ledge grab. Can I? Are you serious? Can I not? How did I do it last time? Oh, I think I maybe dropped down from... Okay, let's see if we can do that. The original Prince of Persia is one of my favorite games, for sure. Dead Rising is another one of my favorite games. I like a lot of fighting games, but I would be very hard-pressed to pick one favorite one that stands out. I'm a big fan of Mortal Kombat, KOF, Street Fighter, Virtua Fighter. Yeah, dude, these waist-high bars, they're impenetrable. At least I've mastered... Well, mastered is maybe a stretch, but I've figured out how to do that. But I mean, overall, I like arcade games, I like action games. I think I did... Yeah, do a little running jump over there. So once we... Oh, fucking hell. Well, I didn't die. I in fact, did not even take damage. Holy shit. If there's like a healing item, that's going to be worth grabbing it. And right now, there are no enemies in here, so I can kind of take my sweet time. I'm pretty sure I was able to make that jump last time. We can give another shot here. I mean, I'm an old, so of course I like a lot of old games. But I mean, it's interesting because, well, interesting. You be the judge, I guess. But something that to me was like something that sort of, okay, I pressed the button, nothing happened. Fuck it then. When I was in like high school, or you know, when I first got into studying Japanese, which I used to be, I took Japanese in college for a couple of years, and one of the main reasons that I got into wanting to learn Japanese was because of games. And the assumption, anyone I mentioned that to, was like, "Oh, you want to learn Japanese to play games? You must be big into RPGs." I was like, "No, not at all. I don't give a shit about RPGs. I play fighting games. I play arcade games." My wanting to learn Japanese, and it's not because they're. I mean, at the time, at least, it wasn't at all because of text-heavy games. It just happened to be a cultural overlap of my interest in the language. In the time since, I've gained a great deal of admiration and interest in a lot of other types of Japanese games that are very text-heavy, like adventure games. You know, there are definitely types of games that require a lot of reading and language understanding that I would want to have the language skill to play. But no, RPGs has never been anything I've been much interested in, other than from kind of an academic point of view, I suppose. So yeah, I think not to say I never liked popular games, but I think my specific tastes and interests in games have not, I shouldn't say never, but certainly not in a long time, aligned with like the more popular general consensus, I guess. Jack Lee Ripper, what is up? Yeah, this is a game, like, this game came out in North America as well as PAL regions. It was not a Japan exclusive or anything like that. It came out in 2001, so I mean, I can see it being overshadowed by games like GTA 3 and Metal Gear Solid 2 and whatever, but it still came out at a time when the PS2 library was still pretty small. So I feel like it would have had less competition than a game like this coming out in 2005. So I was surprised learning more about this game, that it was a game I basically never heard of. I bought this, I don't know, last year, mainly because I thought the box art looked cool, and when I found the box art, so I did a super quick 2 minutes of research to find out what the game was, and it sounded cool. I was like, all right, this is like $3, sure, I'll buy this. And you know, it's certainly dated in some ways, but it plays well, it controls well, and it's cool for what it is. I think it has a great atmosphere. Sure, the game largely takes place in gray hallways. It's not the most exciting location in that sense, but they do a lot with it, and the gradual kind of gutsification of everything throughout the game is pretty cool and well done. And the atmosphere in general, I like all the stuff they do with the kind of Antarctic setting, with the outdoors stuff, with the snowstorm, kind of snow. I guess it's called blizzard in English, but the weather and everything. There's some gameplay mechanics related to that too. You have to find the warm jacket to be able to go outside, and I don't know. It's a really cool game. It's definitely highly inspired by The Thing. But it's got its own. It's not like, I mean, it's a bit of a ripoff, I guess, but I guess it's like a little bit of a mix between The Thing and like Resident Evil. It doesn't really play like Resident Evil, but it has a similar vibe with this like special forces unit. It's got a focus on gunplay and action. But it's certainly its own thing too. It's not really much of a horror game, but it's pretty tense. Like, there's been a lot of stretches with no save points and stuff, which, playing it now, comes across and feels like a very deliberate thing for the sake of tension. But just, you know, in 2001 terms, it's pretty normal. That's just how a lot of games worked. But it's one of those things that, you know, for certain other types of games, it would have come across as perhaps dated or having not aged super well. But for this game, because of the atmosphere and setting and the tone of the game, I think it ends up not hurting the game at all, really. I really do want to play The Thing. We mentioned that last time too. Obviously, it's something that is bound to come up in conversation. Because I remember hearing a lot of good things about it at the time. It's maybe not a masterpiece, but I'm interested in it for sure. But yeah, I think comparisons notwithstanding, I think this game, it certainly impressed me with its level of polish, with how smooth it controls and how it feels. Like, yeah, it's dated in that it doesn't control like you would expect a game like this to control nowadays, or even in the last 15 years. But its own solutions to control issues and like how the guns work and aiming and all that kind of stuff. Like, I've played games newer than this that felt a lot worse. And, you know, a lot of the visuals are really cool. It runs really smooth. It's absolutely not a like low effort, low budget production by any stretch. Yeah, it's Dino Crisis is another. Like, I think mechanically this game doesn't have much in common with Resident Evil, but tonally and thematically, it's got a lot of common ground. But Dino Crisis, of course, was a more action-based take on RE, so gameplay-wise, this is closer to that for sure. So yeah, this is Dr. Falcon. It was seen better days, I guess. Yeah, he's talking about like, oh, you didn't think humans was the first intelligent life, did you? It's like, intelligent life? That thing looks just like a rock. And Falcon is not impressed with our dismissive attitude. But yeah, that's the other thing I like about this game, but I really like about games of this time period in general. Like the art direction, like the characters look so cool to me. I love that there's so much artistry in like the faces and how they look. And when I say artistry, I don't mean like on a scale of how much art is there and how good is the art. It's just that very clearly conscious creative decisions were made in how things were going to look. You can very, very easily draw a line, an imagined line, between 2D artwork of these character designs and how they are realized in 3D in the game. You can see like an artist's hand in the way the characters look, which I think is much less common nowadays. Yeah, Bonk is right. Luckily that fell on him and not on us. Alright, self-destruct initiated. So now these tanks are all opening up, and there's gonna be dudes and dogs and all kinds of shit, but we can, I guess... Okay, well I took a wrong turn there. I guess we have to go back to... Actually, can I? No, I can just go up here. Okay, I can't jump over, but the dogs can. Okay, that's no fair. Well, screw it then. We'll just... Oh, boy. Okay. I can use a small heal. I'm pretty sure... I mean, I might die from falling into a pit, but... So we almost have as many of these. We have a bunch of these, too. Ah, we're... I don't know, like, when you get bitten and grabbed, I don't know exactly how much damage that deals. Usually, if you get hit by a gunshot or a spitball or whatever, it does, like, 10 damage. But let's play it safe. So, I found that usually unless you get ganged up on, you can really just kind of run past almost anything. I spent a lot of, like, I kind of discovered... Oh, I should have switched them. Whatever. Once we started having to fight dogs, whatever, fuck it all. It takes longer to try to align yourself with the switch. actually move out of the way. Yeah, that's perfect. Oh, that's an item. Takes longer to align yourself with the switch than just running up. Ooh, a magazine. Nice. That increases our max capacity. Yeah, so we started using shotguns. So like in the save rooms, there's usually a ammo dispenser thing, which lets you refill your assault rifle, but nothing else. So every other gun has like limited ammo. And I ended up going through all of my shotgun ammo really fast. So I was like, whoops, maybe I should be a little more... Oh, this just grows back, huh? Maybe I should be more selective in my use of ammo. And then I just... Well, I guess that doesn't matter. Been saving it, and then I realized, you know what? A lot of these enemies, when you stand still to fight them, you end up getting more hurt than just running past them. Oh, that's Cindy catching up with us. Okay, some door is now open. We never made it there, so I don't remember where we were headed when we died last time. But we can check our notes here to see. We're gonna get some kind of... Oh, wow, okay, that's the final note. So that's gonna be... This is the final, like, instruction in the game, so we're very close to beating it. But I expect there to be some fight. It would be kind of weird if there wasn't, but maybe not. Do I play fighting games on pad or stick? I've been an arcade stick user for decades at this point. I play Mortal Kombat on pad, but that's pretty much it. Otherwise, I use stick for not just fighting games. I prefer using stick for like arcade games, 2D games in general. Yeah, it gives you like the route, like where do I go? So underground storage. We might actually have it on the map too. Let's see. Sometimes you get, sometimes you get stuff on the map and sometimes you don't. So the map is definitely one of the weakest things in this game. Okay, so that door probably was locked before. So there is that 24 unit battery thing. So maybe we go there to get a battery, or maybe that was a hidden thing at some point. Maybe inside that room is like the ultimate launcher part 3 or something. And we were supposed to find something that would have given us an upgraded battery. But currently our battery takes 18, or has 18 charges, so to speak. The battery you start the game with has 6. So at some point in the game, there's a door, a locked door, that you need 16 or 12 or something to unlock. So you find a different battery that carries up to 18. And that's definitely not an optional thing. It's just, that's part of the progression. So I assumed the same was true here, that we need a 24 charge battery. I still think that's the case, but we'll see what happens when we get there. But first, we have to go back through this room. We have to go back out here, and we have to make that perilous jump. And there's no saving in between. Alright, so I gotta... Okay, I could probably go across there, but can I go across... Oh, fuck it. I think I took a different route last time, but it doesn't really matter. Dramatic music. Like, the enemies are... like, kind of chill, all things considered. They're like, not that threatening. They look cool, they look imposing, but you can kind of just run past, like... When enemies attack from off-screen, or they attack when you're not quite ready for it, like, yeah, they can catch you off guard, for sure. Right, so this thing is, like, you can't see shit, so I, like, just ran into this thing. Oh, yeah, I guess I can't... I wonder if I can knife it. Yeah, but I think, actually, I can... Oh, maybe I cannot... Oh, maybe I can... monkey bar across. What if I fall down here? That'd be hilarious. Yeah, so let's just not do... let's not even risk that jump. But yeah, I could have killed that thing, and that should have made the jump easier. Wow, okay, that was closer than I thought. So yeah, we've officially made it further than we did last time. So this is the dark hallway. Oh, right, it's turning this way. Okay. Or a door or this... Oh, alright, it goes back here. I'm not as used to running through it from this direction for some reason. Okay. So now I need to check on the map to see where I want to go to save. I feel like going back... is there a save in the science room? Of course, the save stations are not marked on the map. Going through the deep part tunnel over there eventually takes us to one, but I have a feeling that the... Shit, our target is right there, though. But if that is, like, if that takes us into some kind of boss fight or something else like that, then that could be risky. I have no real reason to suspect that it would. But I don't know. But before I go in there, then, let me go down to that green light over there and see if, by any chance, there's a save station in here. There might be, but I don't remember. I remember what the room looks like, and it feels like the type of room where you might see something like that. Yeah. So I think this is locked. Maybe not. Because we went through here to, like... You can't zoom in here. I have to go to this section and then zoom in. So there is... Yeah, actually, there's a... Yeah, we can go through here. If we can. This might be off limits. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure because we went through here to, like, planted an explosives or something. So the thing that's on our map, there might be a save room in there. Like, you have no way of knowing. But at this point, the thing we've done so far, it wasn't particularly difficult. But because this is already the second time doing it, I don't want to risk doing it again. See, why did I stop to shoot? I should have just gone through here. Yeah, 70-90 is fine. Like, there's a vaccine station in the next room, but... It's just like... You know, if we somehow die or run into some extremely dangerous situation, maybe we'll go back there to get another 10 or 20% health. I mean, the thing is, I could heal up without, like, using... You can use the vaccine to heal up, but you can only use that at the healing stations. So if I have those saved up, like, that's a good time to use them. However... Oh boy. Well, good thing I saved, I guess. Oh no, I can't. Oh! Yeah, going here is probably the faster way. So I think you might be able to destroy this big thing in the center because it's got, like, blue weak points on it. But I've never been able to actually destroy it, so I didn't bother learning how you might be able to do it. Platforming can be a little finicky. The reason why this is tricky here is because I need a running start to do the long jump like that. Am I even supposed to be on the upper floor? I might not. No, I think it's actually below here. Alright, okay, well, there you go. So this door was previously locked. Sometimes the camera can be a bit funny in these like super tight spaces. Alright, okay. Well, let's see where this leads. Alright, this guy's still alive. Alright, there's a... Okay, yeah. So that's the announcement of the self-destruct being imminent. And we're finding some kind of hovercraft, I guess, to leave on. Dude, I have another sneeze coming on. Let's see. False alarm, I guess. Val, what is up? Yes, Swery did indeed work on this, which was an interesting discovery. That's not something I had any idea about when I first bought this game, but I did a little bit of research on it, and I saw his name come up. And there is indeed a Swery 65 bar in the kind of recreational area that you pass through in the story, which is pretty neat. On that note, I already do have Spy Fiction. I bought that like 3 years ago. I still haven't played it, but I'm definitely curious to check that out at some point too. Alright, so we're not doing super great on infection or health, but I think once I take a little more damage, if I take one more hit, I might use one of those double jellies. Okay, there's pterodactyls. Let's get rid of those. You have like hit stun, but they don't take damage, so you have to do it like one shot at a time like this. It's a bit goofy, but it works. Okay, there's sentry guns. Oh, I can take out. Puddles. I haven't used this like first person thing much. Right, might as well take care of that. I mean, if I can snipe things from up here before they cause a problem. Probably not the worst idea, right? Presumably it's like a fairly straight shot once we... So I can climb... okay. There's like items down here. Well, we'll figure out what it is we need to do. There's a lot of items and shit here, which leads me to believe that there's got to be some kind of enemy encounter. Like, I felt the same thing after we fought Roger. Like, if the game's gonna keep throwing weapons and ammo and stuff at us, the game couldn't possibly be... like, there has to be some other fights left, you know? I mean, the machine gun ammo is not... actually, I didn't get to refill that, though. 423, I think we're okay. Yeah. All this purple goop looks disgusting and dangerous, but it's not actually. Like, these things with the eyeballs, the blue spheres, they'll shoot out spikes if you walk on them. And these other, like, pulsating puddles, they slow you down. But otherwise, it's just decorative. Seems like a funny word to use, but yeah, it's just, doesn't actually do anything. What's this? Is this an ultimate launcher part? Magazines? Yeah, okay, it's just more magazines. A big pile of them. Seems to imply that we're... nope! We're gonna be shooting some guns. Yeah, so the X button is the pulling switches or picking up items or performing death-defying leaps button. The jumping actually works better than you would think, but it's like, it's context sensitive, so you can only jump when you're close to a ledge, basically. But that also does mean that occasionally you end up doing that when you don't want to. So you shoot the turrets to temporarily disable them. Oh, right. That hurt, I think. Yeah, okay. I'll just use this. No, wait. Double jelly. Because our infection resistance ain't too great either. Or it wasn't. We're good now. Actually, even the... Oh, there's a note here. Let's take that. There's some spec data on the air cushion hovercraft. Yeah, so even the... Oh, he's standing over there. Should probably walk up to him. I caught it! Ooh, but there's a big full health, so... It's worth it. Is that a door? Oh, it's a switchboard. There's a ladder here. Wait, no, it's just... Let's just explore a little bit before we... I find it hard to believe that we're just gonna walk up to them and start the vehicle and just exit the game. I feel like there's gotta be something more to it. Someone's last will and testament. Oh, I could have ziplined all the way over here, I guess. But that's the thing, like, you have these big rooms and there's monsters everywhere, there's sentry guns, like, more often than not, like, it's not as dangerous as it might seem. You can kind of take things fairly casual and, oh, I'm not... Locking on can be a little funky sometimes, but I mean, overall it works well. Like, shooting... The whole lock-on system, I think, is actually pretty well conceived. Oh my god, okay, there's a whole bunch of these fellas right here. I can't drop down any faster. Let's just... Let's see what happens here. Over here! Alright. I was wondering earlier, like, how the hell are we even getting out of here with the plane crash, but I guess there's our answer. I like that they have to turn it around before they leave. It seems clumsy, but... Right. There's the rock. Oh, it's spilling out purple goop. Liquid form. Okay, yeah. Little reflection of Falcon. I have a feeling we're not quite done. Unless that's a sequel hook or something. We escaped! Where do we go from here? Well, first of all, let's get as far away from this place as we can. Hurt. Just gonna look for supplies. Okay, there's notes to collect on the wall. Known to fight enemies in a lot of tight quarters. Yeah, like there's not a, like when we saw the dude who was blocking our path when we were going out of the lab, where you're like, I literally cannot pass through here without defeating this enemy. Like, yeah, that doesn't happen very often. All right, operation manual for 20 millimeter chain gun unit. All right. So I guess a mounted weapon, or if we get a vaccine unit here, then that must mean that we get a proper sick bay save station here, which is good. But I take it to mean then that 24 battery door, like, we're probably not going back, right? I mean, fine by me. Man, just taunting us with these ultimate launcher missiles. This looks cool. I like this. Like, and there's plenty of these kind of rooms and sections where you get to kind of look around and there's no imminent enemy threat or anything. Oh, dude. This looks pretty sick. It's pretty sick. That's probably the kind of sick bay or whatever. So I wonder if taking the zipline down to the chain gun is gonna like trigger boss fight or something. Because there's a lot of these kind of cutscene triggers. You just like walk into something and you don't always like. Sometimes cutscenes and big stuff can happen without like when you least expect. So I saw that there was a deposit bullet. So let's do that. Yeah, like this. I mean, this is a Sony published game, and that was also part of why I was interested in picking it up, because I think there typically tends to be there's no actual vaccine unit or save station though. I was hoping there would be. Sony published stuff usually has like a fairly high, like either quality or, especially in the PS1 and PS2 days, like a lot of quirky, interesting games. I mean, quirky and interesting in the case of something like Parappa or Loco Roco or Vib Ribbon. Like, there were those kinds of things, yes, but also stuff that like it felt at that time like Sony were interested in publishing things that were like of a high quality, but also there was some kind of a prestige in not only making things for the lowest common denominator. Like, that's kind of how I feel. So that's not to say that there aren't completely uninteresting whatever Sony published games, but more often than not, I feel like, all other things being equal, if this had been published by, I don't know, D3 or Spike or even Konami or something, like, all of those companies could have made interesting things. But with Sony, I'm almost more inclined to trust that it's going to be a worthwhile experience, kind of. Not necessarily above all others, but I feel like maybe I shouldn't even compare to those publishers. More like if it's something I haven't even heard of, or a publisher I wouldn't associate with, or with a certain type of game, or more so perhaps if it's a publisher I would associate with a different type of game. Sony obviously published a little bit of everything, so. But yeah, like being a relatively early game too, I guess they did put some, money behind it. The studio who made this game, what were they called? Deep something? I forget. They only developed this game and another game called Hungry Ghosts, which was Japan only, 2003, I think. I have no idea if the company kind of existed in other forms under other names, or to what extent other people, the staff, like overlapped with other companies. Someone mentioned when we talked about this on a previous stream, I think the director for this game is someone who was known for something else on some other studio. I forget what it was. Maybe we'll recognize some names in the credits, but it's hard to say that this, what the pedigree of this developer was per se, just looking at that company. Yeah, I swear he worked on this game, but he was not the director. He was not the lead writer. He was one of the game designers. But the director or lead writer of this game was someone who was known for something else too, but I forget what it was. So this was not one of his first games, because apparently, which unbeknownst to me, Swery worked at SNK in the 90s. and he was like the director on Kizuna Encounter and Last Blade, which was like mind-boggling to me. But yeah, after this, I think Swery's next game after this was Spy Fiction, which he was the like lead writer on, as far as I'm aware. In any case, the point I was trying to make is that taken at face value, it's not like this is a prestigious developer per se, but they might have gotten some sort of big names, is maybe a stretch, but there's some talent behind it, and certainly some money behind it, just looking at the production values and like the overall quality of this overall. And I think that is something that you can probably credit Sony to, or for, to some extent at least. But yeah, I'm definitely curious about Hungry Ghost. I think Sword Familiar mentioned that he had the game. I'm not sure if he had played it or had much to say about it, but I'm definitely curious. All right, let's grab this note. All right, more instructions for M129 Annan something. I think it's maybe this little truck. Wait, there's no map here. I guess no. So I think this is where we came out. So I didn't realize there was another room. Ah, okay. Makes sense. I was like, surely there's gonna be... Wait, is there another? There's a bullet dispensary in this room also. Alright, well... not gonna find better use for this, so... Let's vaccinate. Let's save. And I guess we're gonna glide on down to the... In case we need the batteries, might as well recharge. To the chain gun and see if standing next to that is going to conveniently summon something for us to shoot with it. Or just walking out of the save room, okay. Oh shit, okay. We got fucking Kraken lobsters. So it... Fuck all the doors. So is that the thing, or is it just like... Oh shit. Alright, that's sick. I was gonna say, is that the rock, or is it one of many things? But I guess, no, that is just the thing. Okay, oh boy, okay. So I'm guessing I want to find the... Or find, maybe wrong. Get to the... Okay. We're learning how this... I mean, we're probably not doing this first try, so... There's no, like, reticle or anything, which is a bit awkward. Oh, there's a little overheat gauge. There's also forced inverted aiming in this game, which is a little awkward. So this thing doesn't have lock-on, which is... also makes it a little harder to use. So I'm assuming I have to hit his weak point on his tail. I think I was able to shoot those things, but... I mean, I'm basically... basically expecting to give up this attempt to research. I don't expect to necessarily make it out alive. But we can try, if we do die... let's use this. It seems to take damage from that. There was like a little blue splash that typically indicates damage. Stereo sound. You can kind of see the little bullet tracers, like the bullets travel pretty slowly. But yeah, see, like, he seems to take damage when I'm shooting him in the face. But because of the slow bullet travel, it's like between not having a reticle and the bullets traveling slowly. It's not super easy. Yeah, you can clearly shoot those at least, but again, you have to kind of aim higher than it looks. Of course, I don't know that that's dealing damage, but I wonder if potentially... I mean, we got a lot of ammo and stuff. Oh shit, it overheated. Hope that's not permanent. So I'm pretty sure the gun's just like hit scan. If there's no bullet travel time with the regular gun. I'm not sure, I guess. Whoa. Okay. Well, it didn't really hurt us much. Reloading. Oh, nice. With no life bars or anything, like it's... Your guess is as good as mine as to whether we're making progress, but, you know, as long as we're not dying, it's alright. Okay. That's a lot harder to shoot out when we have to do it horizontally. Nice physics. Oh, shit. Okay, he just missed, I guess. Generally, when you hit bosses or enemies and they reel back like that, they don't take damage when reeling, so I'll take that opportunity to let the gun rest a little bit. These things don't seem super threatening either. So I'm not sure if I don't know. She's clearly reacting to that, at least. I don't know if I've ever hit that orb on his tail. Like, I'm not sure if him flopping over like that is for you to get an opportunity. This is a cool fight, but I don't feel particularly threatened, to be perfectly honest. Alright, let's let it cool off a little. I think I hit the weak spot there. Oh, wow, okay. Oh, shit. I'm like trying to sneak in extra hits on the tail. But it doesn't look like it's like connecting or that it's doing anything. I'm not seeing any feedback, like any blue splashes or anything, at least. Nice. I mean, it seems like I have infinite ammo, and as long as we are alive, should at least put us in a decent spot to figure stuff out eventually. You know what? Should just ignore that because it doesn't seem like it's attacking me when I'm on this thing anyway. Yep, I didn't think that would go. Great. Because we don't have the ultimate launcher, so it can't be something about like having to use that, but even trying to use the grenades would be pretty finicky and tricky, I think. Well, not in terms of shooting his face, but well, it depends on how he moves, basically. But we'll see. I mean, could just have a lot of health. Yeah, I'm not sure about his pattern and how he's... Oh, it's about to overheat anyway. Oh, this is not great. The infection rate might be a bigger threat than our health. Granted, I'm not sure what happens when you're at 0. I don't think you instantly die, but maybe you start draining health or something. Oh, you might instantly die. I don't know. Wrong button. Yeah, sometimes he just kind of misses. Okay, I was just about to say, it seems unlikely that that's doing nothing. But is that the end? I didn't think so. Oh, shit. Oh, okay, so much for that car. Okay, now we're talking. Okay, I think I want to equip the grenade launcher. The flamethrower... I don't think I want to get close enough to be able to use the flamethrower. I mean, we have 41 grenades to use anyway, right? So... Sorry, grenades. Oh yeah, we have the drum magazine. We didn't even use this yet. We got this and never used it yet. Alright. Oh, that's 5% damage. So... Ah, okay. I was gonna say, like, how do we get the fuck out of here? That's how. It's like puking into the ocean. Well, explosions at least don't deal infection damage. Full heal. I'm shocked at my ability to check the pause menu at actually good times when when it's a good time to heal. I could so easily have died multiple times from just like being a little careless. There's like blue splashes, so I hope I'm dealing damage. Fucking hell. Fuck, I keep like waiting for these things to rain down and then I move around to like get out of the way, but they take like 2 minutes to land. Okay, he's reacting to something. Maybe a lot of those grenades didn't hit well. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I could use the the other aiming method. Oh, okay, I think I just realized something. When you go from the shoulder aiming to hip aiming, which I didn't realize was a thing, I think that disables the auto aim, maybe. Yeah, it does. Okay. Not sure. Yeah, like, what's a good way of dodging those things? Maybe that's it. But yeah, we've fought other big monsters that had a little core, but we could still hurt it shooting other stuff. So I think we damaged it. Yes. I didn't count the grenades, but I don't think we were out of them. It's pretty cool. Is the good doctor gonna pop out of there? Don't get out of the cockpit! Get away from here! Okay. This is not what I expected. Oh, we were literally out of grenade just now. Wow, okay. Well, maybe we'll try the shotgun. Who the hell's gonna clean that? Well, I mean, we'll try to get out of this alive, and then we'll worry about that later. I still think the flamethrower. I mean, maybe it's really good. Let's try it. We've barely used it. We didn't take that much damage, but seems hard to use. I wonder if we can actually get to the chain gun. Fucking hell, I'm... Oh, no, I don't think we can, because you can't get to the zip line. Well, maybe if you climb up the other side. Kind of hilarious to die on this, though, if that's what it comes to. Oh, I thought there was a ladder there. I guess not. Fuck are these things coming from? Just raining those things? Aiming is really fucking weird now for some reason. Like, you just stand still and one of those things just drop on your head for no reason. Okay, they're shooting out there. I'm trying to move. So if we die here, I guess I'll make sure to not use grenades on the second phase because it doesn't really seem necessary, because I can kind of, I don't know, I could probably use grenades on, save them for this. Yeah, we can climb, but I just wasn't sure if we can, how much it helps. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Oh, what if you... Because there's no ladder over here. Yeah, okay. Now I'm piecing it together. Like, I was struggling a little bit with understanding the the geography of the scene, but it's just because the area is just much smaller now because of the slime. It's just like taking over. Yeah, see, I can't get to the chain gun. There we go. I'll get a little better opportunity to shoot him uninterrupted. Of course, I don't know if that's what I'm meant to do. These guys are like homing now. I still have quite a few healing items. I only have one more, like... infection recovery item. Okay. So now I'm, like, infected. Oh, I have a 60 max HP. That's interesting. Oh, okay. So I have 60 max HP. It appears that my health will drain, and apparently the only thing to fix this is a vaccine machine. Using the jelly isn't gonna help. That was probably me taking damage? Yeah. Okay, well, I'm not taking much damage. So, oh, okay. I was just about to say, is he taking damage? I guess so. Yeah, there's a bunch of different scopes, like different attachments that work in different ways. I have to assume that's the final form. Gary, you okay? I was worried about you. I'm invincible.
どこにいたんだ。物音がしてデッキに出たんだ。そしたら何かに掴まれてそのまま海にドボンさ。ただ運が良かったのは落ちる時にロープが足に絡んだことだな。大丈夫？ちょっと傷が痛むだけだ。それよりひでえ。
Okay, like I'm just in a little bit of pain. More than that, this cold is kicking my ass. Yeah, I guess it would be cold. Yeah, you know, fights like that where you're like, I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. Am I making progress? Am I hurting the boss? I'll try this a little more. I'm not sure. Oh, cutscene. Okay, we did it. You know, that's never going to be the most satisfying boss fight. I think conceptually, aesthetically, this entire evolution of like the professor and the rock and it turns into this lobster and then this big old monster and then the guts explosion and then the dude, that was super sick. But the fights themselves weren't like particularly fun, although that's true for the entire game, I guess. When we had the boss fight, there was that thing on the wall that kept swiping. It was kind of similar in like finding a relatively safe spot to just stand and shoot. Like, I think the aiming and shooting throughout the game works pretty well. Like, it's smooth and it does what you want it to do. You don't feel handicapped or limited by how the game works. But it doesn't give you a lot of options for like moment-to-moment decision-making in combat. So I would say the shooting feels good, but the combat itself isn't like super compelling. Guts ship. Yeah, Tokuro Fujiwara, I think, might have been that person who was famous for something else, who I don't remember. Yeah, Yuzo Sugano. Maybe someone else, I don't know. I swear he's credited first for game design. I don't know if that means he's lead designer or anything, but... Takafumu Nakata, Shinya Naka. I'm curious to look up I just think the way the characters look in the game, they look so sick that I want to see the 2D artwork. that it must have been based on, because I bet that looks awesome. But yeah, thanks for the GGs. This was very enjoyable. I think I definitely was worried that it might be more difficult or that we would get more stuck than we did. All things considered, I think it was a fairly straightforward playthrough. I think the biggest source of frustration or challenge were sections where you you had to redo, like the placement of the save stations basically meant that there were boss fights and sections where there was not a save spot before the boss fight. So you had to do a bunch of stuff to get back to the hard part, and that stuff is always kind of annoying. I mean, I'll play it myself. I'll say this game looks great and ahead of its time. Ahead of its time might be a little bit of a stretch, because I don't think necessarily, like, if you break it down, obviously that's a kind of an open-ended statement that can mean anything, but I think it's not ahead of its time in the sense that it's doing things that you would expect of a game much newer than it. But it also doesn't feel dated in that way where you just like feel like if this game had come out 5 years later, it would have been it would have played so much more smoothly or whatever it is. And that might be, you know, a meaningless distinction. That's subjective, I suppose. Oh yeah, Whoopee Camp. I think that's what came up, because Whoopee Camp was another, I don't know if they were Sony owned or affiliated, but they made the Tomba games. And I know that Swery apparently worked on Tomba 2, I think, if I remember my research correctly. Deep Space is the name of the developer, right? And I think, what was his name? Tokuro Fujiwara. I think he was with Whoopee Camp. I think that's what that connection was. I forget exactly, but always deep lore research. The end. That's a good screen. But yeah, I mean, I reckon you can find a lot of 2001 games that feel clunky and distinctly less modern than this in many ways. But I think the real appeal of this, for sure, is the atmosphere and the setting and the tone. The aesthetics, I think, are well executed for sure. I have no real complaints, but I do think if you set a game on a Antarctic research base, you're going to end up with a lot of gray hallways. And I think especially for 2001 standards, these gray hallways are a lot more varied and interesting to look at than they could have been, especially with, there's a bunch of like set pieces with like the crashing train that blows up the wall and stuff like that, and more of the base gets more and more infected with the slime, and things kind of change. You get this reddish purple fog kind of that spreads throughout the base. Like, it's really cool. It's a cool game for sure. And I think for a game of this time to be, you know, cool overall, to not be immediately annoying to play, like that goes a long way. Like, if it's like feels and looks cool in execution, and like it feels mechanically satisfying, or at least not annoying, and it's built on a premise and a setting that is interesting or that is appealing, I think pretty much everything else beyond that is like negotiable, right? It's not like this game could not have been better, but for what it is, I think it satisfies, it delivers on what you want it to deliver, basically. I think I was expecting, based on the descriptions and stuff I read about it, I was expecting maybe that management of the infection. Oh, yo, how sick is this? Second ending screen? Dude, that's sick. I mean, I assume that if I'd pressed the button, we would probably see that screen anyway. But what if that's like a hidden Easter egg that you wait at the end screen to see that thing? That would be fucking sick. That was a cool ass screen. Like all that, like the the design of the virus and the infection, the mutations, like that'll look so cool. Like it's not groundbreaking, but it's exactly what you would want that stuff to look like. And as I said before, I found the cover art like intriguing. And I commented on that last time too, that the Western versions, both the PAL and US versions, have different cover art. They're not the same. All three of them are different. But they have like not what you would expect, maybe the typical like CG character render, like collage or whatever, but I think it has like a reticle that shows like the silhouette of some people, or I don't know. They're a little less minimalist and abstract than this one. But I love that this shows you everything you need to know. Like, there's a ice cold, frosty backdrop. There's an assault rifle, and it's covered in alien goop. And it says extermination. Like, yeah, you understand that this is a sci-fi action game about some weird mutation. And I mean, that's what it is, right? It's. I think it's perfect. It sums up the game perfectly. And it's visually striking too. The vertical text and everything. It's really cool. But yeah, I mean, the boss fights were a little anticlimactic in a way. Some clear feedback on... I mean, it turns out, like, you're shooting the bosses and there's blue splashes when you hit. And in fact, yes, that did mean that you did hit them. It's more that there's, like, a little bit of a red herring with the big shiny orbs. That on some regular enemies, you have to hit them there. But for the bosses, that doesn't apply. It's a little bit half-baked in some ways, but... I'm really glad I played this. So I guess we got a new game plus save file of some kind. I don't have anything else planned for tonight. I'm gonna need to take a break after this anyway, because I need to go to the bathroom, and we've been streaming for 2 hours. But maybe we'll load up that save file and see if it's immediately clear what's happening here. Because I wonder if maybe you're meant to... I remember reading something. We can actually look up... We can look that up after the break, but there's like if you beat the game with all of the dog tags, you unlock some kind of cheat code or something. And I think we actually only missed one. I wasn't searching for them really, but we found like they're not that hidden, I suppose. But we definitely did not get all 3 parts of the ultimate launcher. And maybe that's something you can only find once per playthrough, and you have to beat the game 3 times or something, and you stockpile the ammo. I have no idea. But I'm curious to find out. But yeah, as I said, I don't have anything else really planned for tonight. So I'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll take a look at some of those things. And I'm not sure if we're going to start something new or take a look at something, or I don't know. We'll see. We might also cut the stream a little bit shorter tonight. I've been a little... I've been very busy lately, so I might just wrap up a little sooner. But not yet, for sure. We'll take a look at the new save file and whatnot. But as mentioned, I'll be taking a break. I'll be back very shortly. See you guys in a bit.